Wow. Man, how great is it to be in Florida right now, right? And I'm not talking about the amusement park that's down the street. I'm talking about to be in a state that appreciates freedom, right? Look, how many Georgians do we have here today? Woo, yeah. You know what's so great? And I said this to our governor back during the little brief shutdown that we had. You know, there was this thing happened last year they called a pandemic. I don't know if you noticed it. But the nation went absolutely crazy. Totally forgot about our Constitution, totally forgot about individual rights and liberties. But the thing is, the people didn't. I mean, if you came to Georgia and you wanted to see any of your friends and neighbors, go to Home Depot or Lowe's. They were all there every day. I told our governor, I said, this is real simple. We can end the shutdown nationwide, or at least a part of it. All we do is take the lead and open up. And he did that. And you know what? There was a little competition going. And now we got competition between Florida and Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and those states as who's going to be the freest now. And I think that's good for us. Folks, we're on a road to majority. We're on a road right now. This is great. This is a great time to be an American if you want to help write American history. Because we are in a position unlike that we have ever been since the founding of our nation, in that the very things that we hold dear as a people are under consistent attack. The traditional American values that were strong in building this nation is under attack. You just heard Dinesh, and he's saying this clear. This is a time for us to stand up and fight, but let me tell you, that fight is going to require courage. Why do you think they want to rewrite American history? Because Americans have a heritage of standing up against all odds and winning when everything in the world is against them. Let me tell you a really quick story. This happened in World War II. My dad is a World War II veteran. He was a medic, landed at D-Day, fought through Europe, was in the Battle of the Bulge. Now, the Battle of the Bulge was one of these battles that was basically hopeless. I mean, we thought the war was over with, got a little lax, and Hitler surprised us, and he invaded and just started going right through our troops. There was this mass retreat from the front lines. They called it the Great GI Bug Out. Eisenhower understood that there were two towns that were critical to the defense against the Nazis, St. Vith and Bastogne. He knew that we had to defend those towns at all costs. So he sent the 101st Airborne to Bastogne, and he sent the 82nd Airborne to St. Vith. Neither one was really prepared for that type of engagement because of other engagements they had been in. They were refitting and relaxing, trying to get ready to actually invade Germany, but now we were on the defense. There was a brave and courageous stand made at Bastogne by General Anthony McAuliffe to when he received a surrender ultimatum from the Germans, he responded with nuts. We won't accept their surrender. Why? Because surrender was not in his vocabulary, because his orders were to defend the town at all costs. And he understood defending the town meant defending America, defending freedom. He was a general, that was his job, but over in St. Vith, it was a different situation. You see, there was this Private Martin, that was sent to the outskirts of town, and he was told to set up, dig a foxhole, and defend a road coming in. So Private Martin is there digging a foxhole when this tank comes by with GIs hanging off the side of it. They're in full retreat. The tank commander stops, and he opens the hatch, and he looks at Private Martin, who's standing there. He's unshaven, he's dirty, just digging this foxhole. He says, "Excuse me, Private, is this the way to the rear?" Private Martin turned around and looked at him and said, "Sir, are you looking for somewhere safe?" He said, "Yes, we are." He said, "Well, then pull that tank behind me. I'm 82nd Airborne, and this is as far as the Germans are going to get." Not only is that courage, that's vision. You see, his orders were to defend that road, and he was going to do it by himself, take on the entire German army. Look, folks, we're under attack. not just from Washington, D.C., which we've been under decades. Now it's from big corporations, it's from social media, it's from neighbors, it's cancel culture. See, they want to rewrite history and they want to shut you up, and the only way they do that is by fear. Since I've been in Congress, I've been part of a domestic terrorist attack. You heard from my good friend Steve Scalise. He and I were on a baseball field when an enraged madman who was believed in all kind of far left philosophy came on the field and tried to assassinate the Republicans on that field. I could go through 20 miracles that happened on that field, bullets passing right by my head, hitting all around me, but God was there to protect me. A few weeks later, my wife and I are driving back to D.C. Somebody runs in the back of us doing 100 miles an hour on the interstate, turns our car over and flips upside down over and over again down the interstate. We should have died. God protected us and saved us. If 2 life-changing events aren't enough, 2 weeks later, we're driving to get away for the weekend and somebody tries to assassinate us by shooting at our car from the side of the highway. Now that's personal. You know, the other was I may be at the wrong place at the wrong time or part of a group, but now it's personal. People quit traveling with us. I don't understand why we can't get folks to. But bad things happen in 3, and then a little while later, a couple months later, we're in a train wreck. And I tell people, just since I've been in Congress, I was a veteran, I served in the Air Force. I got more combat experience being in Congress than I did the entire time I was in the military. So I was speaking to a church group, and they were really concerned about what's happening with America. And I said, well, let me tell you something. Are you afraid of what's happened in this country? They said, yes, we are. I said, did you know the Bible tells us 365 times to do not be afraid, to have no fear, because fear is the opposite of courage, and we need courage to stand up. See, the cancel culture believes that you're afraid of them. They believe that they can put such pressure on you that you'll be silent. So let me do this right now. The cancel culture's out against me, and they're probably looking for some reasons to come and cancel me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it to them right now. Let me tell you something about myself. I'm a Christian, and I'm not ashamed of it. I believe the Bible is the infallible Word of God. I pray in the morning, I pray in the evening, I pray for my family, I pray for my nation, I pray for our leaders, and I even pray for my meals. I'll pray in public. I believe that God creates life and He creates it in the womb, and it is the responsibility of government to protect that life from that moment. I believe that God intended marriage between a man and a woman. If you believe differently, that's okay. If you believe differently, that's okay. You got the freedom to do that. I believe there's 2 sexes, male and female, period. Now, here's a shocker. I own guns. That's plural. I hunt. I hunt deer, turkey. I've hunted moose, bear. I'll even hunt coyotes, rabbits. Basically anything legal to hunt that I can eat or is a nuisance to my family or my property, I'll shoot it. But let me tell you something. I have never shot at a human being or shot a human being. But if somebody tries to harm my family, that statistic will probably change. I personally don't drink alcohol, smoke, or chew tobacco, but if you do, that's your freedom, that's your right. I won't condemn you for that. I believe in free market and capitalism. And I believe it is our responsibility to fight against Marxism, socialism, and communism, and every ism that is destructive to America. You know, I still get goosebumps and chills when I hear the national anthem and I see the flag unfurled. I stand and I put my hand over the heart, whether I am at a baseball game or I'm out in public or whenever it's going on. And I cite the Pledge of Allegiance not by memory, but by heart. Speaking of professional sports, I've pretty much had it within the NFL and NBA, so I don't go anymore. And quite frankly, Major League Baseball is right on the verge of losing me too. Now, I still got NASCAR for now. I celebrate Christmas, not the winter holidays. I celebrate Easter, not spring solstice. And I love Dr. Seuss books. My favorite TV shows are Andy Griffith and Duck Dynasty, and I'm not ashamed of it. I believe the Declaration of Independence was a document inspired by God and is the foundation of who we are as a people. Look, I believe in preserving our natural resources. I think we should have clean air and clean water, but not at the expense of human beings. I believe there is a place for some government assistance, but that is to be temporary. It should not be a lifestyle nor a career. I have worked hard all my life. I've been employed since I was 16 years old, and I believe that there is a job available to you and you're not taking it and you're staying on public assistance, you're part of the problem and you're stealing from those who are working and paying taxes. Now look, because of that, some of my colleagues on the left are going to try to cancel my job. But you know what? I've worked all my life and I've got a few skills. I can build furniture. I can build a house. I can build a barn. I can build a shed. I can drive a bulldozer, a skid steer, an excavator, a bush hog, and an ag tractor. I'll still have gainful employment and I still won't shut up. I've had the measles, strep throat, all kinds of diseases. I've had broken bones. I've been shot at. I've been run over. And I've had COVID twice. And let me tell you, it's none of your business if I've been vaccinated or not. I drive a four-wheel drive Ford F-150 that burns fossil fuels, and the only regret I have is I don't have two of them. I listen to country music. I like Southern gospel music. I like 70s and some of the early 80s music, but my favorite song is Amazing Grace. I believe in freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the freedom to assemble. And more importantly, because this is the part they don't like, I believe in the right to petition the government for your grievances, and that is your responsibility. And part of that is to question the government's decision. If they say the election was honest and with integrity, and you don't believe so, and you say that, they say you're an enemy to the state. That's what happens in communist societies. We have the freedom and responsibility to question authority because that's what keeps us free. Remember this. As Thomas Jefferson said, where the people are afraid of the government, there's tyranny. When the government is afraid of the people, there is freedom. I believe that our government needs taxes to function, but our government's too big and the taxes are too high, and if 10% is good enough for God to run the world, it ought to be plenty enough for the government to run the country. And let me close with this. If you believe these things, as I believe you do, you have to stand up in a loving and kind way and say, this is what I believe, and I am not going to compromise on these issues. This is what freedom means. Freedom comes at a cost. And I don't mean to offend. I'm a Christian. I love people. I believe I should not be a stumbling block. But if your fear of being offended, if you are so afraid of being offended, let me tell you this. Your fear of being offended does not trump my freedom of religion, my freedom of speech. That is mine, given to me by God, and it is to be protected by the state. As I look out at this crowd, I see the potential of a lot of Private Martins here. Just as Private Martin was camped along the road to St. Vith, we're occupying the road to majority to turn this nation around. So we will all, and our children will have a nation that is free, safe, and full of opportunity. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you.